Welcome to NPT TV. I'm Randall Mauricio.
And I'm Tamara Forlansky. It's still early enough in 2011 to do some planning, so we'll talk to Elizabeth Boris, Director of the Center on Nonprofits and Philanthropy at the Urban Institute. But first, Randall, here are your headlines. Lance Armstrong Foundation's big stock gain.
Nonprofit data acquisitions are hot.
And the ethical use of donor dollars.
The Lance Armstrong Foundation has peddled its way to a $3.1 million gain in the stock market. The foundation is a content provider for Demand Media, which recently went public on the New York Stock Exchange. The foundation sold 115,000 of its own shares, and the champion cyclist donated another 68,000 shares to it. Today, the organization still holds more than 60,000 shares. It has annual revenue of about $48 million, thanks to donations and licensing agreements with firms such as Bayer, Nike, and Oakley. Demand Media has a licensing arrangement with the foundation that allows the company to use the Livestrong name and brand to create Livestrong.com, a for-profit health and fitness website.
Three of the most prominent firms in the fundraising business are busy getting bigger and providing further proof that data is king. Blackbaud, the Charleston, South Carolina technology firm that markets financial and online fundraising software, spent $17.5 million to buy public interest data in Alexandria, Virginia. The company provides database management services, acquisition list services, and data analytics and enrichment services for nonprofits. A day earlier, online fundraising firm Convio in Austin, Texas, announced it will spend at least $5 million to acquire Strategic One, an analytics, predictive modeling, and database marketing services company in Overland Park, Kansas. Strategic One touted itself in the new phrasing of business intelligence, which is basically the gathering, modeling, and integration of fundraising and donor information. In each case, the firms agreed to pay up to $2.5 million more depending on their revenue goals. Finally, Wealth Engine in Bethesda, Maryland, a provider of wealth identification and information-based fundraising solutions, announced it purchased and will deploy Oracle Exadata database machines. The upgrade will dramatically improve performance, usability, and scalability of its wealth intelligence solutions. Financial details of the deal were not released. Wealth Engine's database has grown to 2.5 billion records across more than 35 unique data sets. It now runs more than 3 million donor prospect records per month for its hospital, higher education, nonprofit, and commercial clients.
This segment is proudly brought to you by Fisk Solutions. It's all about options.
Ensuring charities use funds in a manner consistent with their mission and the intention of their donors is the most common ethical challenge fundraisers face, according to a new website poll by the Association of Fundraising Professionals. Participants in the poll were asked what type of ethical dilemma they were most likely to encounter in their fundraising work and were given 7 choices. Nearly 1/3 of participants chose use of donated funds. 16% selected privacy, confidentiality of information, with 15% choosing donor control over gifts. Percentage-based compensation, commissions, and conflict of interest were chosen by 14% of respondents. Paulette V. Mahara, president and CEO of AFP, says the use of donated funds is one of the most important aspects of ethical fundraising, especially as charitable gifts get larger. She adds, it's critical that fundraisers and donors work together and develop proper documentation to ensure disagreements do not arise. The AFP homepage quick poll is an informal survey where visitors to AFP's website opt in to provide an answer. The results are based on 569 people who were surveyed on January 20th. You can see the complete report at www.afpnet.org.
The Super Bowl was a big deal, not just for football, but also charity. Dozens of events were held using Super Bowl Sunday as the hook. Prince, the feature attraction for the Super Bowl halftime show 3 years ago, performed a charity concert in downtown Dallas to benefit the Goss Michael Foundation. Tickets started at $1,500. More than 1,000 guests attended the Best Party in Texas to benefit national and local charities. It was hosted by Bill Rancic from Apprentice fame and his wife Juliana DePandy of E! News. The party was planned by the Feliciano Foundation.
Last but not least, we caught up with Elizabeth Boris, director of the Center on Nonprofits and Philanthropy at the Urban Institute in Washington, D.C. She can give us a general outlook on the industry for planning purposes. Hi, Elizabeth.
Hello, Randall. I'm very pleased to be with you today.
Elizabeth, what are some of the challenges charities will be facing in 2011?
2011, I think, is going to be a tough year for a lot of charities, especially those that have any kinds of government grants or contracts, because state budgets are in free fall. A lot of red ink out there in the states, and many nonprofits receive government contracts and grants to provide services in their communities. So I think it's going to be a tough year for human service providers particularly, and actually any nonprofit that in the past has been the recipient of government grants and contracts. I think we're going to see a really tough year ahead unless the economy miraculously improves, and I don't see that happening in the short term.
Is there anything that charities can do to heed that off or deal with it as best they can?
I think they ought to have contingency plans. I think that other sources of revenues are really difficult right now, but because contributions are down, fee-for-service income is down, corporate giving is down, I think they really ought to be looking to conserve what they have, and when this recession is over, building up some rainy day funds so that they can weather these kinds of storms, because it's the triple whammy. Contributions down, demand up, and government grants and contracts down. It's a really tough year, I think, ahead.
To watch the full interview, click on the banner underneath this video player. And don't forget, the Association of Fundraising Professionals will hold its annual international conference in Chicago, March 20th to the 22nd. Former President Bill Clinton headlines that event.
Sounds good. Well, thanks for joining us today. Let us know your thoughts on NPT TV by commenting below.
And of course, you can share NPT TV with colleagues by clicking on the icons. We'll be back with more in 2 weeks.